Part 38. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 371. The remaining specific details, rules, etc. are left to be negotiated by Shadow 4, Shadow 5, and the Nightmare Legion. What Yabai needs to do is to ensure a victory in the competition and obtain the final fruit of victory. Yabai said to himself. It's reasonable for me, a little lone wolf warrior, to compete in a battle of warriors, right? Shadow 3. How is it reasonable? From the perspective of combat strength assessment, Yabai is indeed still a soldier. A soldier who participated in killing the 9th level god of war? Isn't that still a soldier? Yabai has already made arrangements for the general level competition. Shadow General 4399, requesting to fight? As for the King of War, I, the King of Shadows, also eat vegetarian food from time to time. Yabai suddenly realized that there were benefits to having too many trumpets. Yabai can even take part in battles at the God of War level. After winning these 4 tough battles, Shadow can get up to 80% of the share. As for the God of War, let's forget it. Yabai is very self-aware. Now, when he faces the Tongtian War God, he has no chance of winning unless he uses the thunder he has copied. Use Third Brother's thunder to kill Wang Tianwang? So heart-wrenching. Yabai would never do such a cost-effective and inhumane thing. Regarding the Battle of Tongtian God of War, both sides actually have little choice. The Nightmare Legion has only one God of War. There was originally only one Shadow, Shadow 9. Originally, it was Shadow's sure win. However, Master Ju fled to the Abyss of Strength, and Yabai was unwilling to let the top 3 Shadow Ghosts, and Snake Gods break through to the Heavenly God of War. You have to find a way to fool the movie star. The contest between the Shadow and the Nightmare Legion has come to an end for the time being. Yabai returns to his ordinary life, mixing up if he can, and showing off if he can't. Wait until 12 o'clock in the evening, go to the 29th floor of the Eternal Tower, and play with Huo Tianyi and Sun Li. Not long after, 2 instructors came outside the classroom and poked their heads in. Excuse me, is classmate Yabai here? Yabai, who was taking a nap, woke up with a start. Is get out of class over? Ahem. The instructor coughed twice to relieve the embarrassment. Please come out, I have something to ask. Oh. When Yabai stood up, Wang Zheng reminded him in a low voice. They are the ones who registered the special information. They were the ones who transferred Zhaolin to SS level before. Yabai nodded, indicating that he understood. Follow the 2 instructors to the side room. The furnishings in the room are very simple, a table and 2 chairs. After opening the special magic circle, a female instructor spoke. Her voice was soft, like cotton. Classmate Yabai, according to the information you registered, you chose the Lone Wolf camp, right? Yabai nodded and admitted, that's right. We heard some news and wanted to confirm it with you. The female instructor said softly. Can you ask your shadow to leave for a moment? The next question may be related to your talent. To avoid leaks, the fewer people know, the better. What she said was reasonable, and Yabai couldn't think of any reason to refuse. Yabai shook his head, no. The male instructor on the side chuckled lightly. Student Yabai, you may have forgotten to introduce yourself. We are the instructors of the summer camp inspection team. We have noticed the information about the second awakening of your talent and would like to communicate with you. If the news is true, it will be easier for you to earn points during the summer camp, and you may even enroll in advance. As he spoke, the male instructor even raised the form in his hand, allowing Yabai to see part of the content clearly. Of course, the premise of all this. The male instructor drew out his voice and grimaced. You have to cooperate with our work. Under the influence of carrots and sticks, Yebai's attitude has obviously softened. Okay, no problem. Yabai nodded and finally agreed to the other party's request. Third Master, do it. Countless densely packed white bones appeared in the space and fell down, forming a cage of bones. In just an instant, two War King level instructors were subdued, unable to fight back. Ying San's figure walked out of the shadows. He did not look at the two pale warrior kings, but looked at Yabai respectfully. Fourth Master, kill him. The two War Kings were already in extreme shock. Third Master? Fourth Master? Yabai was protected by the shadow of the God of War, which was not unexpected. The question is, why can Yabai control the shadow of the God of War? Why did this terrifying strong man covered in bones call Yabai Fourth Master? There were too many questions in the minds of the two of them with no answers. The only thing they knew was that even though they were 9th level War Kings, they were as weak as chickens in front of this strong man with white bones. Killing them is no more difficult than crushing ants. Yabai's face was gloomy, his eyes dim and unclear, and he tapped his knuckles on the table. After a while, Yabai slowly spoke. Call Ying Er over. The second shadow is here. Within a second, the bad woman appeared in front of Yabai. She first looked at Ying San and said respectfully. Third brother, I noticed that you were taking action. I was worried that something might happen to Fourth Master, so I rushed here in advance. Ying San said nothing. He knew very well that now it was Yabai who had the say. Even if he had something to say, it was Yabai who should say it. Even Ying Er's explanation was not explained to Ying San, but specifically to Yabai. Yabai pointed at the two people who were trapped in the bone cage and could not move, and said coldly. There is something strange about these two people. They did not receive the gift directly from the demon god, but it should be related to the demon god. When he saw the two of them for the first time, his discerning eye didn't see any clues. But after entering the hut to chat alone, Yabai vaguely felt that something was wrong. Even if we are talking about talent-related matters, there is no need to put aside Yabai's shadow, right? The regulations do say that under special circumstances, shadows can be allowed to leave temporarily. But the two people's reactions were too abnormal. Yabai took a closer look with his discerning eyes and found something interesting. The two of them really have no direct relationship with the devil. However, they carry a certain prop with them. If Yabai is forced to use it, it will allow him to obtain the gift of a certain demon. They originally thought that Yabai was a newly emerging genius, so the defense around him would be relaxed and it would be easier to take action. Unexpectedly, this time the kick hit the iron alloy diamond plate. Something to do with the devil? The atmosphere in the venue instantly cooled down. Even the second Master Ying, who was always sick, was extremely serious at this moment. He and she have very special identities. Although they are monsters, under the protection of Master Ju, they have made countless contributions to the human race over the years. The more this is the case, the more cautious Ying Yi will be when it comes to matters involving demons. Inside the hut, it was extremely depressing, and the two trapped War Kings felt out of breath. Yabai asked. Third Master, how do you usually deal with this kind of thing? Ying San thought for a while and returned honestly. In accordance with the 24th rules of Article 8 of the Special Planetary Defense Regulations, collect evidence, subdue personnel, and hand them over to the nearest defense director. For their circumstances, there is a high probability that they will be sentenced to more than 95 years of imprisonment in the abyss, and a small probability of life imprisonment. Unexpectedly, the third master is quite knowledgeable about the law. Yabai thought for a while and asked again. What if it involves me? Ying San's three words made the two War Kings, who were hoping for luck, instantly turn pale and despairing. Ying San said seriously. Determined to persevere. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 372. Stand firm to the death. As soon as Ying San finished speaking, Ying Yi brought out the guillotine, electric chair, gallows, oil pan, etc. There are thousands of kinds of death penalty, but there is always one suitable. The two war kings trapped in the bone cage were trembling and completely confused about the situation. They still don't know what happened. What's so special about Ye Bai? Is it just because Ye Bai and Huo Tianyi are too close? Wrong. Both of them denied this possibility at the same time. The two big figures in the shadows both respected Ye Bai. Even Shura cannot easily convince the 9th level god of war. Then there is only one possibility, Ye Bai himself is a big shot in the shadow. They were fished. No, in other words, this trap is to capture stronger beings. Small shrimps like them got in by mistake. A name emerged in the hearts of the two of them, bringing them endless fear. Shadow 4. Rumor has it, the most powerful man in the shadows. Ye Bai turned out to be Shadow 4. This secret is destined for the two of them to rot in their stomachs. Ye Bai knelt down and looked at the two of them, with disgust in his eyes. Check it out. With Ye Bai's permission, a dark shadow rushed up, enveloped the two of them, and began to look through their memories. After a few breaths, a sissy voice sounded, and Master Ying said happily. They were once captured by the demons in the abyss, and the former demon sect believers came forward to betray the human race. According to Ying Er's description, these two people once had principles and beliefs. Facing the test of life and death, it is human nature to fail to persevere. These two people have something in the hands of the demon god. At the same time, they do not contact the demon god directly, but communicate one way with people from the previous demon cult. In this way, they will not have any traces of the devil themselves. There is also a special name for this kind of person, gopher. Unlike the people in the demon cult, gophers are the most troublesome existence. If it weren't for the props related to the devil that he carried on his body, even Ye Bai wouldn't be able to see through their undercover identities. After hearing Ying Er's conclusion, Ye Bai thought for a while and said, "Delete that memory just now." Second Master Ying did not hesitate and started directly. When dealing with those who collude with the demonic cult, Master Ying always strikes hard. Soon, the bad man said proudly. The memories of the last 3 days have been deleted. Ying San frowned slightly. Didn't you hear what fourth master said just now? The memories of the last half month have been sealed. Ye Bai shook his head. It's too short, maybe the last 3 years. It's safer this way. In this way, the bad man sealed the memories of the two war kings for 3 years. Then just hand it over to the city defense department. They have something on them. Ye Bai directed the bad woman to step forward and take out a prop related to the devil. This is. Everyone's eyes fell on a black ball. From the moment it appeared in the bone space, the bones began to vibrate and tremble slightly. The fifth demon. Everyone got the same answer. Who else could dare to do something like this and stretch out his hands so long, except the fifth demon who is not afraid of death? The sensible demon god has already taken the initiative to disband the demon cult, leaving characters like Gopher alone. To be honest, in the early stages of the bloody battle between the two races, the demon cult was very handy. After all, at that time, many people within the human race advocated surrender. There will always be no shortage of weaklings and capitulationists in any era. But as time went by, the human race gradually took the initiative on the battlefield, and the demon sect was gradually marginalized and became an extremely useless existence. The demonic sect today is no longer what it used to be. 10 high-level officials of the demonic cult are meeting, 8 of them may be human undercovers, and the remaining 2 may still have time to die. This is a hammer. The fourth demon god, to a certain extent, fell under the scheme of the leader of the fourth demon cult. The demons are not fools either. If the organized demon sect cannot survive, then decentralize it. Gophers become their best choice. If the two gophers in front of Yabai attack at a critical moment, they might cause a lot of losses to the human race. Ying-san took the initiative and asked. Fourth Master, the fifth demon god's belongings, ninth Master used to be sealed in Shadow's warehouse. Yabai glanced at Ying-san, always feeling that there was something in the other person's words. Without thinking too much, Yabai nodded and said. Then follow the old rules and send it to fourth brother and seal it in the warehouse. Clear. The bone space faded, Ying-er took the two instructors away first, and Yabai returned to the classroom as if nothing had happened. This small episode did not affect Yabai's pace of life. He continued to attend class as if nothing had happened, waiting for the eternal tower to open. Dong. A man in ragged clothes, slovenly, and unkempt hair was huddled in the corner with a broken fan tied to his waist. Huo Tian nodded. The man's appearance is not ugly. If he is carefully groomed, he will definitely be a handsome guy. He is truly worthy of being the favored one of the god of poverty, disease, death, and misfortune. Xiao Huo, where should we find Sun Li? Yabai said seriously. Come on, enjoy the food. I've been hungry for more than 70 years. Yabai must lead Sun Li through the 29th floor. I don't know either. There was a broken bowl in front of him, looking very much like an unemployed internet writer. Huo Tianyi shook his head. If you eat this chicken leg, you will mess with me. Begging for orders, the franchise kind. Good. Yabai nodded, summoned Dracula from his exclusive space, snatched half a chicken leg from Dracula's hand, and put it into Sun Li's bowl. Is he Sun Li? Xuemeng owes everyone 3 chapters, which must be paid back within half a month. Yabai appeared in the Eternal Core City and soon found his mature sheep Huo Tianyi at the agreed place. Beggar. This looks like a professional. Tonight on the 29th floor, there is a threesome, one of them is indispensable. Noticing the arrival of the two men, Sun Li raised his eyes, sickly, and said feebly. Yes, he is the only one in the entire Eternal Core City who can beg. Otherwise, the shadow will have one more favored person of the poor god, which is absolutely unacceptable to Yabai. Yabai raised his eyebrows slightly. I can't make it through tonight. There is only one more chapter left and I can only record Xuemeng's account. Starting tomorrow, I will try my best to resume my routine in the human world, and I should be able to adjust by the weekend. Look for a beggar on the street, and if you find him, he is Sun Li. The bell rang and it was 12 o'clock. After thinking about it, Huo Tianyi added. Let me tell you about the update. The Chinese New Year completely disrupted the biological clock. I was busy socializing during the day and writing at night. As a result, I fell into an endless loop. After the New Year, the longer I wrote, the later the time went, the more Xuemeng owed everyone. Countless people entered the Eternal Tower at this moment. Yabai got straight to the point and asked. Yabai looked towards the roadside and quickly found his target. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 373. The chicken legs were placed in front of him, and Sun Li didn't dislike it. He finished it in 3 to 3 times, even the chicken bones. Hiccup. Sun Li supported the wall, stood up slowly, and stretched. The taste of saliva is a bit weak. Sun Li looked at Dracula behind Yabai and blessed him sincerely. It would be better if you had diabetes. Dracula? Lao Zhu has a tight work schedule now. During the day, he is responsible for following Xiaoju, serving as a playmate, pillow, quilt, remote control, piggy bank. At night, when the demon lord is about to break into the Eternal Tower, Ying-san takes care of Xiaoju, while Dracula returns to his exclusive space, always waiting for the demon lord's call. In other words, Dracula now has to work 2 jobs for 1 vampire. In return, the demon lord generously doubled his base salary. Dracula excitedly ran to ask Jack, the werewolf who paid the salary, and was told, "Since you are a high-level combatant, it would be too disrespectful to pay you a basic salary, so you only have monthly, quarterly, and annual bonuses." Dracula: "As expected of you, demon lord. Let's not talk about Dracula's salary." Yabai looked at Sun Li in front of him and determined that this was the person he was looking for. "Let's go, I'm entrusted by someone to take you through the barrier." Sun Li did not rush to express his position, but said seriously, "Before departure, I still need to explain something clearly to you. Ahem, I am already terminally ill and plagued by bad luck. You must be a drag on me." Yabai nodded, "I know. Bring the pendant Sun Li to brush up the SSSS rating. Doesn't this show that Shura's skills are good? The point is, I have nothing to repay you for." Sun Li emphasized. "Everything I give away has bad luck, even if it is a copper coin." Yabai expressed generously. "It doesn't matter. I never do good things for money. I'm not interested in your money." Dracula: "Huo Tianyi." The demon lord would never say such shameless words if he wanted to save face. "Thanks. When it comes to this matter, Sun Li has nothing to be pretentious about." Sun Li looked at Huo Tianyi with a little curiosity in his eyes. Crazy Huo really succeeded. He's so successful. Huo Tian had extremely bad breath as soon as he opened his mouth. The big demon is still alive and kicking. What's the difference between an old guy and a loser? It's hard to kill a big demon. Yabai glanced at Huo Tianyi, "So you are brave? Next time I send you directly to the great demon god, will you perform this bad-mouthed part again?" Yabai had reason to doubt that Huo Tianyi was really brave. Sun Li nodded slightly, looked at Yabai, and chuckled. "This guy is even more annoying than me. Thank you for your hard work this time." Yabai shook his head, "It's not hard. As long as the goblin boy adds more money afterwards. Let's just forget about Sun Li's money." Sun Li took a step forward. Unexpectedly, the stone bricks under his feet suddenly collapsed, revealing the void. He staggered, lost his balance, and fell heavily to the ground. Fortunately, Yabai had quick eyes and quick hands. He grabbed Dracula and threw him over. He used it as a vampire meat mat for Sun Li, so Sun Li didn't fall to death directly. Dracula fell to the ground, with Void in front and Sun Li behind. At the same time, Yabai took 2 steps back and looked at the place where Sun Li fell. "This is..." The Void fragments disintegrated the space of the Eternal Core City, causing minor damage. Huo Tianyi said slowly. "Such things have happened no more than 3 times in the past 100 years." Listening to Huo Tianyi's introduction, Yabai fell into silence for a while. "This Sun Li is too unlucky, right? It's okay, it's a small scene." Sun Li stood up from Dracula, took out the broken fan and shook it twice. The places where the fragments had appeared were slowly repaired. At the same time, a fragment of Void appeared in Sun Li's hand. As a collection of bad luck, Sun Li also gets a little reward when bad things happen. For example, the Void fragment in his hand at this time. Sun Li looked around and found that no one wanted it. Although the things are good, the bad luck is too bad. Anything related to Sun Li is really bad luck. Well, I can only find a way to give it to the devil. Sun Li smiled and put it in his pocket. Obviously, this wasn't the first time he had done this. "I'm ready." The 3 of them gathered together and set off immediately without further ado. They had no more preparation to do. Among the 3 of them, after Sun Li entered the 29th floor, his talent would immediately cease and he would lie flat in a state of ruin. Huo Tianyi is a reckless man and has nothing to prepare for. Just go to the end in one breath. And Yabai had already made all preparations. Yabai summoned the Eternal Core Crystal. Since he wants to form a team to pass the level, as the captain, the other team members need to use his Eternal Core Crystal to enter the corresponding layer of the Eternal Tower. 3 hands were attached to the Eternal Core Crystal at the same time. Sun Li only used one finger to avoid conveying too much bad luck. I heard the same prompt. Their current strength is indeed not enough. Yabai entered the corresponding number of layers, 29 layers. Although Yabai felt that there was something strange between the two of them, he did not go into details and instead turned his attention to the 29th floor. I hate it when he lumps me in with the old guy. I wish you clear the Eternal Tower as soon as possible. 3 white lights flashed, and 3 figures appeared at the same time. Sun Li opened his mouth and said. Sun Li and Huo Tianyi knew many secrets that Yabai didn't know. Eternal Tower. The 29th floor. I wish you can clear the Eternal Tower as soon as possible. 3 white lights flashed, and Yabai's familiar tone sounded in the ears of the 3 people at the same time. Fine. What's the problem? The 2 shook their heads at the same time, and Huo Tianyi added. Instead, Yabai became interested and looked at the 2 of them. But the vision they possess is exceptionally impressive. It's just that Sun Li was stuck on the 29th floor, and Huo Tianyi was the obsession separated by King Huo Tianyi. Behind Yabai, Huo Tianyi and Sun Li exchanged glances again. It makes sense for the 4 of them to work together to break through the level. That sentence. Oh. Okay, cheer up and get through. Sun Li and Huo Tianyi exchanged glances at the same time and saw the meaning in each other's eyes. Huo Tianwang, Meng Meng, Xueju, and Lan Bangxian, these 4 people can be regarded as the earliest and strongest beings in the human race. They are all thoughtful people, the first batch of veteran strong men in the human race. Back then, Upon hearing this, Sun Li did not show any abnormality and answered very naturally. Back then, when old Huo Tianwang and Nightmare teamed up to break through the 29th floor. Back then, it was the old guy, Nightmare, Xueju, and Lan Bangxian who got through this level together. Huo Tianyi interrupted first. Did you hear that? Huo Tianyi nodded slightly, and his meaning was very clear. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 374. Eternal Tower. The 29th floor. The content of this level is simple, guard a pass. It is similar to the RPG maps that Yabai played in his previous life, such as guarding Athena and guarding the Sword Pavilion. As for the difficulty coefficient, of course it has been increased countless times. If that's all, it's not a big problem. As a team level, one of the requirements for clearance is, in addition to the complete pass, everyone must survive and pass the pass. Sun Li, who has no talent and is plagued by misfortune, cannot pass the level even if he is protected by 3 genius seeds with SS-level talent. Among the first batch of strong men to rise, Sun Li was originally an extremely amazing star of tomorrow. One Sun Li is worth 10 Madman Huo on the battlefield. No matter how strong Madman Huo is, he still has to charge into the battle, and it is difficult for him to defeat 10 people with just one fist. To a certain extent, Sun Li can be regarded as a causal weapon. Every time in a scorching battlefield, the strong human race quickly evacuated and then dropped Sun Li, which had unexpected effects. No one knows what happened specifically, but in the end only Sun Li came back alive. This is enough. This trick has proven successful over and over again, and has even tricked and killed the demon god of war. However, Sun Li was stuck on the 29th floor and could not move forward, wasting away his few lifespan. In the end, it was even forced to freeze and remain silent for so many years. Until Shuro was born, Sun Li was arranged to enter the unblocking process. As soon as Shuro passed through the 28th floor, he woke up and prepared to hold Shuro's thigh and pass through the 29th floor. After entering the 29th floor, Yebai didn't waste any time and started trying to fix the bug. Yebai shouted softly. "Classmates Yaoi. I am here." AI Bobo reluctantly appeared in front of the three people. For a moment, Yebai felt like Sun Hao, dragging the landowner out to help at every turn. AI Bobo didn't react when he saw Huo Tianyi. When he saw Sun Li, he was so frightened that he hid behind Yebai. Appeared. The most unlucky person in the Eternal Tower in the past 100 years. Sun Li smiled. He was used to the NPC's attitude towards him, and he couldn't even complain. After entering the 29th floor, Huo Tianyi's attitude became much more straightened, and he was no longer as careless as before. Huo Tianyi glanced at Sun Li coldly. "When you break through, keep your mouth shut." Crow's mouth? Yebai looked at Sun Li, a little curious. Sun Li explained. "Sometimes the good things I say come back and the bad things I say come true. This situation is not 100% possible. Nightmare checked it out for me back then and said it would not be a problem." As soon as he said the words "it's not a problem," Sun Li suddenly coughed loudly. He covered it with his right hand, and red blood flowed out from the gap. The cough subsided a little. Sun Li wiped away the blood with white silk and said with a sad smile. "It's okay, I can live for more than 4 hours." Yebai said nothing, but his eyes fell on the white silk dyed red. Old pig. Dracula, always on standby. Dracula's heart trembled when he saw the white silk in Sun Li's hand. The demon lord plans to become a human again? "Go, take your things." Yebai ordered. "Go back and dilute it to replenish Kane's health." Dracula felt a chill, stepped forward and took the handkerchief. He was even a little lucky in his heart. Die Kane but not the old pig. If it works well, it can be made into a secret weapon against vampires in the future. After solving this episode, Yebai also gained a new understanding of Sun Li's poisonous milk ability. "Just after I said it was okay, I coughed up blood and lost half of my life. You'd better talk less." Taking classmates Yaoi, the group came to the pass to be guarded. Yebai was not in a hurry to open the pass, but looked at classmates Yaoi. "What kind of bugs are there on this floor? Is it so direct now?" Yebai feels that there should be more sincerity and less routines between people. Classmates Yaoi stumbled and said. "I can give you 3 maps with the movements of all monsters on them. This is what he can do. Any more and it won't work." "Thank you, you returned a favor to me." Yebai settled the accounts very clearly. "I still owe me 9 favors and 1 for saving my life." Classmates Yaoi. After getting the map, each of the 3 people got a copy. The pass they want to guard is surrounded by enemies on both sides, and monsters will spawn from different places. Some monsters even have skills such as invisibility and sneaking, and they don't care about martial ethics to attack this pass. With the map, the 3 of them would not be too passive in guarding the pass. While leaving people to guard your home, you can also take the initiative to eliminate monsters in advance. If this was Yebai's single-player copy, he would probably not guard the level and just block the monster spawning area to spawn monsters. "As long as I defeat all the enemies, there will be no threat to the pass. The best defense is offense. Generally speaking, the monsters at the beginning are not too difficult." Sun Li didn't know when he was already sitting in a wheelchair. "I went through the level with other people before, and it went smoothly in the early stage. But in the later stage, I was swarmed by powerful monsters. I couldn't cope with it, and ultimately failed." He recalled. "The longest time I persisted was the last wave of monsters. That boss was too strong. Even if I could use my talents, I would still be no match for them." While Sun Li was recalling, the maps in the hands of the 3 people changed at the same time. "Hey, is your map broken? Can I, as a tower spirit, give you a bad map?" Huo Tianyi pointed at the map. A large ink ball appeared in the south, completely covering up the surrounding terrain, just like ink splashed on the map. Why is there such a big ink stain? After glancing at the map, classmate Xiao Ai squatted on the ground, buried his head, and said tremblingly. That's not an ink stain. That's the aura of the bad guy running up from the 28th floor. Why is he hiding here? It's over, I'm going to die this time. The most powerful demonic force that escaped from the 28th floor was split into two. Most of them stayed on the 28th floor and were killed by Ye Bai and Wuhan yesterday. A small number of them escaped to the 29th floor, waiting for an opportunity. After Ye Bai and Sun Li appeared at the same time, the most powerful seeds were superimposed on the favored ones of the god of death and misfortune, and successfully awakened the power of the most powerful demon god. Sun Li and Huo Tianyi's faces turned dark at the same time. Huo Tianyi stared at Sun Li and said fiercely. After this adventure is over, stay far away from me. Sun Li was also helpless. You think I like teaming up with others? Who would have thought that when Sun Li broke through the level this time, he would attract the first wave of monsters contaminated by the aura of the most powerful demon god? The two of them had extraordinary vision and immediately recognized that the source of the ink marks was extremely powerful. The weakest body is in existence above level 995. Although there is only a little residual aura left here, it is still very difficult to deal with. The big one is coming. The only person in the audience who could remain calm was Ye Bai. Not only did he not panic at all, he even wanted to laugh. Ye Bai, who was sure that the thunder was still there, patted classmate Xiao Ai on the shoulder. Don't be afraid, brother is here. Ye Bai said confidently. Isn't he just a little powerful demon? Deal with him. A reassuring reminder popped up in front of Ye Bai's eyes. A small incomplete projection of the most powerful demon god, level 600, is too arrogant. He bullied Shura and refused to agree. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 375. Due to the interference from the powerful demon's aura, the three of them had to replan their strategy to clear the level. Spread the map out and everyone forms a circle. Ye Bai pointed to the pass on the map and said. The original plan was for Sun Li and I to stay at the pass while Huo Tianyi took the initiative. This would ensure nothing goes wrong. Huo Tianyi's strength is undoubtedly the best at level 300, excluding the strongest seeds. Moreover, Huo Tianyi had a small bug himself. Even if he is separated from the old king Huo Tianyi has a new talent number 1 in the world. Now Huo Tianyi can still rely on Xiaoju to activate 9 deaths without regrets. In other words, he has 2 talents at the same time, and he will not die no matter how much he wastes. Saying that, Ye Bai glanced at Sun Li and said helplessly. There's a little accident now, and the powerful demon god's aura has awakened. It's best to go over there and deal with him in advance. There's no hope for Huo Tianyi. This is no longer an ordinary demon, and the most powerful seed must strike hard. The most powerful demon. After Shura said these 4 words, the faces of everyone present tightened. They thought it was an ordinary demon god, but they didn't expect it to be the final boss. Even though it's just a little breath, the incomplete projection should not be underestimated. Sun Li's face darkened and he said. Withdraw, we won't need to break through this time. Huo Tianyi hesitated and said nothing more. He knew Sun Li's physical condition. Even though he is sitting in a wheelchair and gasping for air now, in a few hours, Sun Li will be able to go directly to the funeral. This guy was forced into a desperate situation on the battlefield and had a bet with the gods in exchange for strength. As a price, if you cannot pass the 29th floor within the limited number of times. Not only will Sun Li die, but his soul will also belong to the corresponding god. The reason why Huo Tianyi knows these inside stories is. It's because old Huo Tianhuang once did something. As we all know, Madman Huo is a very unscrupulous person. After becoming the god of war, level 995, Madman Huo gave full play to his excellent tradition of bullying the weak and fearing the strong, and not respecting martial ethics. Madman Huo was looking for the god Sun Li was gambling with in the temple, preparing to beat him to death with a few punches. Even if you can't beat him to death, you still have to let the other party voluntarily cancel the transaction for that year. This is crazy. This breakthrough is Sun Li's last chance. If Sun Li chooses to quit now, the moment he leaves the Eternal Tower, a god will come and take away Sun Li's soul according to the rules. In fact, Sun Li's choice is easy to understand. He is an older generation of strong men who has experienced bloody battles, and knows far more secrets than Ye Bai. Sun Li knows better than Shuro what the strongest person means to the human race. The human race has been walking a tightrope. If they make even half a step wrong, everything will be lost. If Shuro was trapped here because of Sun Li, the bloodshed all those years would have been in vain. Sun Li wanted to leave, but Huo Tianyi didn't express his position. Shura obviously had different opinions. Because the captain is Shura, Shura has the final say whether to leave or stay. Before Shura could refute, Xiaoai timidly spoke. That. He felt the tension in the atmosphere and was a little scared. We can't leave now. The bad guys got smarter. They sealed the 29th floor first and then showed up again. It's okay now. Even if everyone doesn't want to step into this muddy water, they can't help themselves. Regarding Xiaoai's statement, Sun Li was full of disdain. I have a way to send Shura out. It's no shame if Huo dies. Okay, stop arguing. Ye Bai rolled his eyes and interrupted Sun Li. Don't think so much. Your life is really in danger. I can run faster than anyone else. Huo Tian nodded in agreement. I testify that this kid is afraid of death. After thinking about it, Huo Tianyi added. He is very afraid of death. To what extent? If his life is in danger, he doesn't even want money. Yeah, bye. I always feel like I've been scolded twice. Ignoring Huo Tianyi's strange aura, Ye Bai spoke again. I have a way to deal with the most powerful demon without even having to use all my trump cards. Pointing to the ink marks on the map, Ye Bai continued. The trouble now is that I have to set out to purify the pollution caused by the most powerful demon. Huo Tianyi defends the pass. What will you do? Sun Li thought for a while and suggested, stay here. Huo Tian nodded in agreement. Yes, if you will never regret it. Due to his gambling with the gods, Sun Li is the most hated being on this level, attracting more hatred than the pass in front of them. Wherever Sun Li goes, monsters follow. Okay, I get it. Sun Li reluctantly raised his hands and agreed to the two people's plan. I'll follow Shura and meet the powerful demon god for a while, okay. Okay. After the three people unanimously agreed, the division of labor was clear. Huo Tianyi defended the pass alone with ease. Go and push the wheelchair. Under Ye Bai's arrangement, Dracula directed the Poseidon puppet to push Sun Li's wheelchair. Outsourced in layers. Sun Li looked slightly embarrassed and explained. This is a smart wheelchair that can also fly. Ye Bai waved his hand. It's okay, push with a sense of ceremony. He wanted to see if Dracula would become more unlucky because of Sun Li through a puppet. Two people and one vampire set off after determining the direction. Along the way, Ye Bai encountered many monsters that rushed towards the two of them. The monsters on this level are pretty good in themselves, but after being polluted by the aura of the most powerful demon, their strength doubled. Monsters that used to be over 300 levels now generally have levels of 500 or 600. This is just a little monster. Of course, in front of Ye Bai, they were no different from vegetables. Rumble. There were sparks and lightning along the way, and monsters were killed one after another. Sun Li, who was sitting in a wheelchair, couldn't help but sigh. The most powerful style. Dracula, who was on guard at the side, also fell silent and said nothing. After having many contacts with the demon lord, I often lament his inhumanity. It's easy to subconsciously ignore something. When it comes to taking action, the demon lord's strength is absolutely at the same level. Under the siege of so many monsters, Ye Bai strolled around with ease. Even if Dracula and Huo Tian were replaced, they would not be able to do the same thing. Why is what Sun Li said different from what third brother said? Out of the way. Don't listen to what they say, see for yourself. Regarding the most powerful mark, Ye Bai didn't say much, but quietly waited for the other party's next words. Cost. Obviously, the bad luck of being struck by lightning was passed on to Dracula by Sun Li. If Xueju could not be resurrected, Yingju would not be dead. Ye Bai's thoughts were a little confused for a while. His. Shura, do you know about the most powerful mark? Here, I strongly recommend to you the Nine Awakenings version of the Eye of Insight, the true Eye of Omniscient. Sun Li's expression was gloomy, but soon it was gone, and he looked at Ye Bai. If Xueju can survive, Yingju will not die. Just give the old pig seconds. Suddenly, a thunderbolt fell from the sky and struck Dracula impartially, leaving him scorched on the outside and tender on the inside. Then you should also know Yingju's true identity. Ye Bai frowned, a little unhappy. What's the price? Sun Li was stunned, as if he didn't understand what Ye Bai meant. This price was obviously not something Ye Bai could accept. After you become the most powerful person, if you give the most powerful mark to Yingju, he will have a way to resurrect the people in the shadow, and even resurrect Xueju. Right. Let Master Ju die? Dracula sighed. Although the old pig's blood bar is thin, he has many lives. Ye Bai really didn't expect that this thunder projectile would hit Dracula. Sorry, I don't know what happened, but it got twisted. Sun Li smiled bitterly and shook his head. Ye Bai raised his eyebrows slightly. I know a little, but not much. Sun Li hesitated for a moment and asked, You know Yingju, right? Taking advantage of the gap between Dracula's resurrection and return. Well, it's not your problem. A new prompt popped up in front of Ye Bai's eyes. Sun Li spoke again. It would be great if the demon lord was a human race, and he would be considered to have followed the Ming Lord. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 376. The two of them had a tacit understanding about the topic of the mark of the strongest and did not continue the conversation. However, Sun Li's words just now reminded Ye Bai of something. Because of the ice, Sun Li looked more like a young man. It's just that because he is a beggar by profession, his appearance is too sloppy and dirty, with a special sense of vicissitudes of life. But don't be deceived by Sun Li's appearance. Even though he has been frozen for decades, he is still the same person from 100 years ago. In other words, and the strong men of the generation of Nightmare, Xueju, Huo Kuai, and Lan Bangxian. Ye Bai can learn a lot of dark history from him, secrets from back then. In fact, the old people didn't talk to Ye Bai very much about these things. Xueju is missing, Huo Tianwang has a bad mouth, and Lan Bangxian is too cold. The only one who was willing to talk to Ye Bai about these things was Master Ju. It just so happens that, Ju is a historical inventor. Inventing all kinds of history all day long, the truth is true and the false is false to fool Ye Bai. This old liar has already started deceiving people before he even opens his mouth. Thinking of the attributes of Sun Li's crow's mouth, Ye Bai hesitated for a moment and asked. Elder son, let's talk about the past. It won't bring bad luck, right? Sun Li didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and spread his hands. I can't answer that question. Don't be so polite, just call me Lao Sunday. Ye Bai understood immediately. If Sun Li answers no and triggers the poisonous milk effect, it will bring bad luck. If Sun Li answers yes, he will have a crow's mouth and say that good things will not work, but bad things will work. Communicating with brother Sun really tests your language skills. Ye Bai warned himself, don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Ask the key points. After sorting out his thoughts, Ye Bai spoke again. Old son, what kind of person is Xueju? Among the older generation of strong men, Ye Bai has come into contact with most of them so far. There were only two brothers, Meng Meng and Xueju, whom Ye Bai had never met. Big Brother Nightmare, a person who only has a sense of existence in the dark history. As for Xueju, mainly because he disappeared in the abyss of the strongest, leaving too few traces. The only time Ye Bai heard news about Xueju in the Eternal Tower was from the mouth of the Vulcan. Xueju was called King of Humans by the God of Fire. Therefore, Ye Bai was very interested in Xue Meng's father, Xueju, and first asked Sun Li for information about him. After all, Ye Bai tortured his son so badly. If Xueju has a bad temper, when he comes back, Ye Bai will not be able to reap the rewards. You mean Xueju? A warm smile appeared on Sun Li's face, as if thinking of Xueju she made him feel much better. He has many titles. The one Xueju dislikes the most is the Human King. Ye Bai, this is also the only brother I know. Xueju feels that no one can call himself a human king. Maybe, everyone can become a human king. As he said that, Sun Li pointed to the Heavenly King's sword on Ye Bai's waist. So, Xueju changed the name of the Human King's sword to the Heavenly King's sword. You can take away the Heavenly King's sword from the Eternal Forest, not only if the sword recognizes you, but also if Yingju recognizes you. Having said this, Sun Li nodded and said to himself, you should be a very good person, otherwise you won't be recognized by Yingju. Ye Bai nodded in agreement. He also felt that he had always been a good person. Basically the limit of what humans can do. That's too far. Sun Li brought the topic back and continued talking about Xueju. Xueju is very strong, he uses a sword, and Shadow uses a knife. Without talent, he can use his sword and Blue Banished Immortal to win 3 or 7. If he uses talent, there will be no suspense. You have also seen the Shadow use a knife. That madman Lao Huo was forced by Yingju to abandon the knife and use his fists to break out a new path. Listening to Sun Li's description, Ye Bai had a vague image in his mind. Xueju's talent should be related to Shadow. Therefore, Master Ju's sword is very strong and he has been trained since he was a child. Oh, right. Sun Li emphasized. Xueju was very lonely when he was a child, so he valued his companions very much and was very considerate of other people's feelings. Ye Bai nodded, he understood this. Also, Yingju, I actually don't like Xueju's character. How should I put it? Sun Li organized the language. Yingju cares about Xueju very much. It's not difficult to understand. He follows him everywhere like his shadow and is a confidant. Yingju always felt that Xueju was harmed by his own character and ended up where he was now. In that battle in the abyss of the strongest, Xueju had the opportunity to leave directly. Ye Bai raised his eyebrows and guessed what was going on. After a strong human being reaches level 1000, he will be forced to leave and go to an unknown space. In other words, Xueju had a chance to reach level 1000 that year. However, if he chooses to upgrade and leave, no one will care about the powerful demon god. On one side is the overall situation of the human race, on the other side is personal life and death. This question is not difficult for Xueju. The last thing he did was to give away the Heavenly King's sword and Yingju. Sun Li continued. Because of this strange hatred, Yingju's personality is actually the opposite of Xueju's. You see how irritable Yingju is, and how elegant Xueju is. Yeah, bye. This person and this image are completely two extremes. To say this, Ye Bai felt a lot more at ease. Xueju is a good person and can handle things. He will not be angry with Ye Bai because he supervised Xuemeng's training. From this point of view, Xueju and Nightmare are actually quite similar. They both have the image of a warm and sunny boy. Thinking of Xueju and the Huo Tianyi he met earlier, Sun Li smiled again. Under the bloody memories of that year, every time I recall these people, I can always feel a little warmth. Let me tell you an interesting thing, related to Madman Huo. A dream come true. The talent of the first most powerful person in the history of the human race, the name of the first SSS level talent, the 4 words that make the 5th demon god terrified. Crazy Huo didn't dare to scold Xueju. Every time he was reprimanded by Xueju, he would point at Xueju's shadow, point at Mulberry, scold Huai, and point at shadow. Oh! Let's not talk about these things anymore. Sun Li showed a mysterious smile and asked. After watching the second brother and third brother so many times, he didn't know what their talents were. Talent upgrade patch in progress. Upgrade failed. Seeing that Ye Bai didn't know, Sun Li readily announced the answer. Otherwise, he might dream about someone sending him a razor blade in the middle of the night. Ye Bai. One thing to say, to be fair to a pure passerby, you should at least take a look at Nightmare to know the other person's talent, right? Ye Bai never expected that King Huo Tian would have such a dark history. Ye Bai raised his eyebrows. Hopefully this is the last non-earthly update. Obviously, Sun Li is not a riddler, and he doesn't like to titillate people. Ye Bai listened attentively and fired a thunderbolt to kill all the monsters around him. Sun Li was a little tired and waved his hands feebly. The kind that clicks until the point is reached, and stops every time Huo Kuang's talent is triggered. It is precisely because of this that after Yingju came back to life, he often consulted with Madman Huo. Actually, many people know the name of Nightmare's talent. I don't believe it either. Faced with the desperate excuse, Ye Bai dismissed it. Sun Li said those 4 words. As for the specific effects, apart from Nightmare, only Xueju and Yingju know. Since you are interested in those people and things back then, let me tell you something you definitely don't know. Continuing to upgrade. Bully the weak and fear the strong, you finally understand. Ye Bai. Do you know the name of Nightmare's talent? Sun Li pointed in the direction of Huo Tianyi. I do not believe. As expected of you, Lao Huo. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 377. A dream come true? This name sounds very powerful. Look at yourself again, what a talent the eye of insight is. Ye Bai took a sip of lemon. Brother, can you change your talent? I asked it for you, I won't change it. Ye Bai rolled his eyes and ignored the eye of insight. Sun Li, who was sitting in a wheelchair, was chatting and laughing with Ye Bai just now. Suddenly, his heart stopped and his breathing stopped. His whole body was like a puddle of mud, and he collapsed in the wheelchair. Ye Bai. Old pig. The resurrected Dracula is summoned. As soon as he appeared, he saw Sun Li whose heart had stopped beating. Dracula's expression suddenly changed. Master, did you kill Sun Li too? Stop talking nonsense and save people quickly. Following the prompts from the Eye of Insight, Ye Bai remotely controlled Dracula to perform first aid on Sun Li. Use the knife at this place and cut 6 centimeters. Very good. You have held his heart. With manual cardiopulmonary resuscitation, Sun Li twitched twice and came back to life. Just like a drowning person coming to life, Sun Li was temporarily out of danger, and Dracula asked the Poseidon puppet to take back his palm. Vomit. Sun Li spit out the blood and sprinkled some medicinal powder on his wound, which slowly healed. After doing all this, some color returned to his face, and he looked at Yabai with a wry smile. It's an old habit. I will enter a near-death state after a while. According to Sun Li's own arrangements, Sun Li could survive even if Yabai did nothing. But it will be a lot more painful. Yabai didn't say anything more, and everyone set off again. This time, their progress was obviously faster. Everything that needs to be talked about has been finished. On the 29th floor, the longer Sun Li stays, the more dangerous he becomes. Moreover, Sun Li's near-death buff has just taken effect and will not be triggered again for a short time. Of course, the most important thing is, the person causing trouble on the 29th floor is not someone else, but the aura of the most powerful demon. How terrifying is the most powerful demon? When Sun Li and Huo Tianyi, two powerful men who became famous 100 years ago, heard the words Supreme Demon God, the first thing they thought of was to run away. Don't confront the most powerful demon god, even if it's just a level 600 incomplete projection of the most powerful demon god. To a certain extent, the most powerful seed and the most powerful demon god both broke the ceiling when they were at the same level. Even, the most powerful demon is even more terrifying. If you let the other party cause chaos, you might be able to break through the sky. After speeding up, everyone quickly came to the edge of a black mist. The core of the black mist is the incomplete projection of the most powerful demon that is polluting the 29th floor, with level 600 strength. The edges are crowded with monsters contaminated by the breath of the most powerful demon god, serving as the most loyal guards. Yabai and others noticed the aura of the most powerful demon god, and naturally they could also detect the aura of the most powerful demon god. These monsters were used to delay the progress of Yabai and others and buy time for the most powerful demon god. Thunder. Yabai struck down with a thunderbolt and found that the effect was very average. Tian Li jumped a few times before being actively absorbed by a monster. Looking around, there are more than tens of millions of monsters blocking everyone's way. If we continue to kill like this, we don't know how long it will last. Moreover, as an enemy, even if it is just a projection of aura, the most powerful demon god has also shown his cunning side. The monsters in front of Yabai were all below level 300. Even if he is killed by Yabai, he cannot provide experience points due to the large level gap. Glancing at the pale Sun Li, Yabai knew he couldn't drag it on any longer. Shadow See. Shadows stood up one after another beside Yabai. Lifting the power of nature, Yabai began to sing. Water skills raging sea. Let all living beings listen to the roar of the sea. After reciting the shameful lines, countless stormy waves rushed forward, washing away the monsters layer by layer. The monster is like salt meeting water, being instantly dissolved. Just relying on the angry sea, Yabai cleared most of the outermost monsters and washed out a gap. But more black clouds are pressing up, and the gap created by the angry sea will be filled by monsters in the blink of an eye. Rush. Without hesitation, Yabai gave the order and several figures rushed forward. They don't have time to waste here. The longer they delay, the more dangerous it will be. The greatest respect for the most powerful demon god is to use all means to kill Yat. In the process of charging forward, even without command, several people cooperated very skillfully. Everyone is a battle-hardened person who knows when to do something. Yabai rushed to the front, faced the greatest pressure, and was also responsible for continuous advancement. Every time the force of nature is waved, it will take away the life of a large area of monsters. Under the thunder, demons and gods will be slain. Behind Dracula, a long river of blood emerged beside him, and countless bat shadows flew out from it, tearing apart the surrounding monsters. During this period, Dracula repeatedly performed meritorious services, and Yabai rewarded him with a lot of prince's essence and blood. Today, Dracula's strength has reached the level of a first-class prince. With the river of blood, his combat power is very impressive. One person and one vampire protected Sun Li in the middle, and the Poseidon puppet protected Sun Li closely. The advance was very fast. Just like an electric drill drilling through the skull, it drills through with just one brush. Thunder. Spark of fire. Reach for the stars. The various skills thrown out from Ye Bai's hands were dizzying. Soon, the three of them killed the monsters on the periphery and rushed to the edge of the core area. Feeling the terrifying evil aura ahead, Sun Li's face became solemn. Dracula wasn't much better either. His body was in tatters, many of his wounds were filled with demonic aura, and he didn't have any aristocratic demeanor. The master's killing efficiency was so terrifying that Dracula tried his best to barely keep up. Ye Bai, on the other hand, seemed to have just finished warming up and still had some unfinished ideas. In front of you is the projection of the most powerful demon. Ye Bai calculated the distance and thought about when would be the best time to hit the thunder in his hand, etc. Sun Li suddenly spoke. He definitely has more than one life. No matter what means you have to kill him, use them only when you have no choice. Ye Bai nodded, he thought so too. Previously on the 28th floor, Ye Bai dared to squander that sword because his third brother was watching. Besides, even if he didn't win, it wouldn't be difficult for Ye Bai to run away. The situation now is completely different. In order to kill the projection of the most powerful demon god, Ye Bai and others fought all the way to the opponent. It almost came to your door. I can't even run away. Is Xiaoyao watching? Ye Bai didn't know. But he knew that in a desperate situation, it was unwise to place hope on others. Tall buildings are rising from the ground, and you have to rely on yourself to slay the demons. Ye Bai estimated the distance and told Dracula to look around. Azura Sea. With Ye Bai as the center of the circle, within 100 meters, the Shura Sea swept away everything. Even the breath of the most powerful demon god cannot infiltrate the Shura Sea. All things are born. Spring, summer, autumn, and winter, skip with one click. Thunder flashed in Ye Bai's eyes, and the staff moved forward slightly. Chaos Thunder Annihilation. Boom. The black Chaos Thunder fell, penetrating all the monsters along the way, and hit the core projection of the powerful demon god hard. Rumble. 4 muffled sounds were heard in succession. First 4, then 4. After the Chaos Thunder, the sky is clear and the earth is clear, and the demons in this world have been wiped out. Ye Bai casually took back the power of nature, as if he had just killed a clone of King Huo Tian, without any fluctuation in his heart. Sun Li, who was sitting in a wheelchair, had many emotions turned into a sigh. The most powerful should be like this. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 378. The most powerful should be like this. There is one thing to say, and it will not be slanderous if you don't brag about it. Ye Bai's performance was completely worthy of the passing mark for the strongest seed, and he could even get a high score of 61 points. He first stacked up and prepared for attack, added thunder buffs to himself, and then blocked the number and time. He chose the best timing to take action and seized the fleeting opportunity. The damage of the Chaos Thunder, superimposed on the momentum of the attack, directly killed the incomplete projection of the most powerful demon god in an instant. Then, killed 7 more times in succession. Even Tanyan, who has always been yin and yang, gave Ye Bai a very high evaluation. Congratulations to Shura for finishing 4th in the Imitation Xeon Seed contest. Same joy. Ye Bai has been rotten in the strongest seeds. Not as strong as Nightmare, not as handsome as Wuhan, not as strange as Xiaoyao. It doesn't matter. I, Shura, have embarked on my own path to becoming the most powerful. Go. Ye Bai is very confident. As long as he reaches level 1000, he will be the most powerful person. After the sky cleared up, the surrounding demonic energy was swept away, and the crisis was resolved. Dracula finally breathed a sigh of relief. It looks like you should be able to pass the level smoothly. Shut up. Yabai glared at Dracula. You and Lao Sun have been together for so long, who knows if you will become a crow's mouth. Regarding the flag that Dracula had set just now, Yabai had a hunch that there would be twists and turns later. Actually, Yabai never let down his guard in his heart. That is the most powerful demon. If anyone dares to underestimate the other party, Yabai may not even know how he died. The most important thing is that it's rare for Tan Yan to be useful. The projection of the most powerful demon god has 9 lives. Current number of kills, 8 times. One more time left. As for where the other party is hiding and when he will attack, Yabai still doesn't know. The enemy is in the dark, we are in the light, and we remain unchanged in response to all changes. Yabai didn't say anything more, turned around and left without looking back. Return. The speed of everyone's return was several times faster than when they came. Huo Tianyi's warm-up hasn't ended yet, but the hidden danger of the most powerful demon over there has been temporarily subsided. The two parties rejoined and briefly exchanged information. That is to say, after listening to Yabai's description, Huo Tianyi frowned. The most powerful demon god still has one chance to take action. Once he takes action, are you sure of killing him instantly? Yabai nodded, yes. Previously, the damage of Chaos Thunder has been verified. With the Chaos Thunder at the ready, you can instantly kill the level 600 most powerful demon projection. Yabai thought for a while and added. The premise is that his strength does not change qualitatively. Huo Tianyi shook his head and rejected Yabai's premise. Don't even think about it, there will definitely be a qualitative change. The situation froze instantly, and everyone was in a dilemma. It is known that the projection of the most powerful demon will take action again. This is the opponent's last chance and is also the opponent's strongest form. How many cards the opponent has is already on the table. Where are Yabai and the others? Several people looked at each other, but no one rushed to confess their trump cards. Urged by Yabai's eyes, Dracula cleared his throat and said bravely. I can briefly burst out with the fighting power of a 9th level god of war. After finishing speaking, he did not forget to add. It takes a lot of blood from the vampire prince. It's all just a suggestion. Huo Tianyi rolled his eyes, grinned and cursed. The 9th level god of war is useless. Everyone looked at Huo Tianyi with curiosity in their eyes. So you are brave? Huo Tianyi had no choice but said coldly. I can make the god of killing cast down projections, level 990, up to 3 projections. He has a stubborn temper, but he is not stupid. At this critical moment of life and death, if you insist on saving face and suffering, you are a fool. The god of killing, this title belongs to old Huo Tianwang. It's not surprising that Huo Tianyi can rely on the other party's strength left in the Eternal Tower. The pressure came to Sun Li. Sun Li opened his palm and a dice appeared. This is the god's dice. Once rolled, the projection of the god can be forcibly summoned. The projection of the gods wants to make a bet with me. If the deity loses, the deity projection will do one thing for me. Huo Tianyi knew about this dice. It is indeed Sun Li's strongest trump card. As the first group of people to break into the Eternal Tower, the props and equipment they obtained back then were far more powerful than they are now. If the situation has reached this point and you are still hiding it, then you are no longer a human being. After hearing everyone's trump cards, Yabai nodded slowly without saying what his trump cards were. I understand, you all have unique skills. Yabai looked around, with expectant eyes in his eyes, and asked. If I alone solve the final projection of the most powerful demon, does that mean you each owe me a chance to use your trump card? Everyone? What time of the year is it, and you are still busy shedding wool? Sun Li said it was wonderful. This was the first time he saw Shura's pluck side. Not only did he not feel any discomfort, he even felt it was novel. Huo Tianyi had a dark face and snorted coldly, without any objection. Sun Li had no objection and explained, by the way. The god's dice can be used once a day, both inside and outside the Eternal Tower. But it is bound to me and can only be used by me. Huo Tianyi thought about it, but still couldn't hold it back and said coldly. Don't be too presumptuous. The opponent is the most powerful demon. I summoned the old guy's projection in advance to be safer. Ye Bai shook his head and refused. No, I can't give you a chance to assist. The most powerful seed Shura single-handedly brushes the most powerful demon god's projection and spreads it out. How nice it sounds. If it turns out that Shura and Huo Tianwang join forces, it will taste wrong. Ye Bai, who has been providing assists all year round, knows very well when to refuse assists. Whatever. After saying that, Huo Tianyi said nothing. In fact, using Huo Tianwang's projection was very costly to Huo Tianyi. The most important thing is that the two of them were separated. It would be bad for both parties if contact was re-established. Just like a couple who breaks up, blocking them and never contacting them is the best option. Projection can be used, but it is best not to use it. Since Shura insisted, no one had any other opinions. In fact, this temporary small team has been firmly centered on Shura since its establishment. And Ye Bai's performance is also worthy of everyone's trust. The next pass was uneventful. Normal monsters pose no threat to the trio. Even if Huo Tianyi doesn't take action, Dracula alone is enough to deal with these minions. Ye Bai even ate sunflower seeds and chatted with Sun Li leisurely. The melon seeds were knocked, and Sun Li was almost killed by a melon seed. Fortunately, Dracula returned in time and rescued Sun Li. Finally, the last monster was smashed to pieces by Huo Tianyi with one punch, and the three of them had not had time to clear the level. The sky and the earth are different. Everyone standing on the pass looked north. A huge black cloud appeared in the north, giving people an endless sense of oppression. That's not right. Xiaoai squatted on the ground with doubts on his face. He shouldn't be so strong. There's definitely something wrong. Among everyone, Huo Tianyi is the one who has truly reached the level of a god, level 995. This is already a power beyond level 994, and the gap with the previous one is too big. Even though they were hundreds of miles apart, everyone could feel the suffocating pressure. His call was answered. Reproduction mode. Shura, you are the strongest Xeon seed, you can do it. Who is this warrior if not Dracula? Dracula, who was trembling all over, attracted all the firepower of the audience at this moment. The speed of this thunder and lightning is not fast. Is there a possibility? In the black clouds, golden light came from time to time, as if a certain existence was contending with the aura of the most powerful demon. Originally, when I cleared the level, a god-level strongman would come and fulfill the bet he made with me back then. The next second, there was a loud shout in the sky. Infinite calamity. But Dracula was wailing in his heart. It seems that there is only one eternal thunder in the world. Everyone quickly looked up. Now that the worst situation has happened, Sun Li has nothing to worry about and said. Boom. Demon Lord, be more reliable. Demon God of Miscellany, look here. In an inconspicuous corner, a figure approached the black cloud at an extremely fast speed. The moment the thunder cloud condensed, Ye Bai took action decisively. If no one forces him to do this, he has never been so brave in his life. At the moment when the thunder fell and defeated the black clouds, Ye Bai softly read the name of this thunder. Everyone, start up. In this critical and urgent moment, along with the wave of the power of nature, a white thunder and lightning fell. In an instant, countless thunderbolts covered Ye Bai's body. All the elements in the world were forcibly converted into thunder elements, and then gathered above his head, instantly forming a thundercloud even more terrifying than a black cloud. If that's the case, it's really unlucky to open the door for unlucky people, extremely unlucky. When it appears, time in the entire world slows down. And during the process of coming, this god was contaminated by the breath of the most powerful demon? Kill her to death. After reaching the extreme casting distance, Yebai raised the power of nature and roared. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 379. Countless calamities. Yebai copied a thunder from Xiaoao. Although there is no way to reproduce 100% of the power, I can only barely learn a superficial lesson. But it is more than enough to kill a mere projection of the most powerful demon god. White thunder fell on the black clouds, and the black clouds melted instantly, and the golden light shone brightly, revealing his true appearance. Yebai saw a Buddha. However, before Yebai could look at it for 3 seconds, the golden Buddha bumped into Bailey. After slaying the projection of the most powerful demon god, the remaining power of Bailey is still there. Just because Yebai can use this move doesn't mean he can control it. Like pulling the trigger and reflecting the bullet. The subsequent advancement of the bullet has nothing to do with Yebai. He doesn't know how to fight with a gun, so he can't turn the bullet. Rumble. Golden fragments flew across the sky, like fairies scattering flowers. 2 black shadows sprang out from Yebai's feet and began to capture golden fragments frantically. The projection of the most powerful demon was dead, the golden Buddha was struck badly by white lightning, and the scene became extremely subtle in an instant. Yebai looked at the chopped up giant Buddha and did not let down his guard. At the same time, he narrowed the distance between himself and Sun Li and Huo Tianyi. What happened? After the two parties met, Yebai pointed at the giant Buddha covered in carbon black and looked up and down. This shouldn't be cremated directly, right? Huo Tianyi took a closer look, shook his head and said, not dead yet. Nonsense, of course I know he's not dead. Yebai rolled his eyes and made a small gesture of wiping his neck with his hands, and everyone understood instantly. If they work together, they may have a chance to keep this seriously injured god behind. The opponent endured an immeasurable calamity, and his level dropped rapidly. Yebai didn't know how many levels there were before. The current Golden Buddha is only level 989. Due to the existence of Poseidon, Yebai actually had a very average impression of the gods in the Eternal Tower. Brother Vulcan is obviously a different kind. In addition, the demon gods in the abyss are actually gods who escaped from the Eternal Tower. The impression score dropped again and again. Level 989, everyone present took out their trump cards. No need to kill him. Sun Li opened his mouth and said slowly. He is worse off than dead now. Oh, why? In the eyes of everyone's doubts, Sun Li told about the bet he had with this god's wand back then. I made a bet with him that I could clear the 29th floor of the Eternal Tower within 10 times. As a proviso, he won't drop below level 990 before I beat the game. If the additional conditions are met, he will do one more thing for me. Hiss. Yebai took a breath and took 2 more steps out, keeping a distance from Sun Li. Yebai was very surprised when he saw the god's dice before. Sun Li is so unlucky, can he win in a bet with the gods? Can't win. Now, Yebai seemed to understand a little bit. Sun Li's bad luck is contagious. Even if you bet against Sun Li, you will still be disturbed by his bad luck. When both parties have bad luck buffs, the bet returns to its original starting point, fair and just. And Sun Li relies on his rich unlucky experience to successfully defeat his opponent every time. Reasonable and convincing. Is the routine so deep? Ye Bai secretly warned himself. This man can't be dealt with. It's really unlucky to be near him. Huo Tianyi spoke again, looked at Sun Li and asked. What happens if he loses? If I clear the 29th floor and meet the additional conditions at the same time? Sun Li recalled. He wants to build a temple in the Eternal Core City and accept hundreds of disciples every year. Only after training 1,000 war kings and 10 war gods for our human race can we leave. Sounds like, that's it? Huo Tianyi rolled his eyes. Just these people are useless. Huo Tianyi enjoys the familiar bad breath alone. Sun Li spread his hands and said helplessly. When we made the bet, how did I know that the human race could last for hundreds of years? Nowadays, the kings of war are everywhere, and the gods of war are not as good as dogs. Based on our understanding of the Eternal Tower back then, this condition was already very harsh. Huo Tianyi didn't say anything further. This statement is somewhat Versailles. However, Ye Bai likes it. The golden giant Buddha slowly disappeared, and a black Arhat walked towards the three of them. Amitabha. Arhat first saluted Sun Li, then nodded to the others and sighed. Arhat spoke again, facing Sun Li, and persuaded. Donor, you are destined to be a Buddha, so why do you do this? A layman who has not purified his 6 sense organs can talk about his relationship with Buddha. Sun Li laughed at himself, with a sneer on his lips, a rare murderous look in his smile. The abyss is immortal, and the butcher knife in my heart cannot be let go. This sentence caused everyone on the scene to fall into silence. Having more contact with people of the older generation, Ye Bai easily discovered one thing. On weekdays, they look all kinds of cool, wanton, and showy, with very different temperaments. When it comes to the abyss, everyone's attitude is surprisingly consistent. Eye for eye. This may be the only consensus that Huo Tianwang and Lan Bangxian can reach. Why bother? The Arhat frowned and sighed. Back then, the poor monk broke the precepts and wanted to force the benefactor into Buddhism, which led to this bet. The cause of that day is the result of today. What happened to the poor monk now can be considered as reaping the consequences. Master, can I borrow a fire? If you want to gather the wool, hurry up and be careful not to let him escape. Master, please stay. These words are so apt when applied to old Huo Tianwang. Arhat looked at Shura, shook his head, and replied respectfully. Ye Bai quickly stopped the other party and stopped talking. Acting domineeringly, I am the only one who respects me, no one else can do it but me. This is the most powerful record of the human race except for the strongest. Donor, this poor monk doesn't smoke. Huo Tianyi was right. Because he is strong enough, King Huo Tian is qualified to be proud. Ye Bai raised his eyebrows, he didn't expect Xiao Huo to be so smart. Huo Tianwang, to a certain extent, is truly the #1 war god in the human race. Given time, it will not be difficult to surpass King Huo Tian. Hearing Ye Bai's words, Huo Tianyi frowned and urged. Shura, this Arhat is already miserable enough. He was seriously injured and almost killed the great demon god. He suddenly discovered that there was actually quite a big gap in personality between Xiao Huo and Lao Huo. After saying that, Arhat saluted again and turned to leave. Although old Huo Tianwang was cold on the outside and hot on the inside, his attitude was somewhat headstrong. Don't look at the big devil being beaten like a grandson by King Huo Tian. The old thief announced, taking this update time as the limit, all previous ones are counted as the underworld. Little Huo Tianyi is more immature, but also more open-minded. The road is wider. Fire stealing success rate, 0.15%. Okay, Xiao Huo. Looking at the Arhat with green fire on his back, Ye Bai saluted and asked seriously. Putting aside Yingju and King Huo Tian, the great demon god can single-handedly challenge all human beings to fight against the heavenly god of war. Yabai really planned to gather some wool. If Huo Tianyi maintains this mentality. In fact, this has something to do with the strength and experience of the two people. It has the flavor of embracing all rivers. The great demon god went crazy, and the other abyss demon gods were like grandsons in front of him. Huo Tianyi is a challenger, and his mentality of climbing higher is of course different from Huo Tianwang. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 380. Eternal Tower. The 29th floor. Master, you misunderstood. Yabai looked at Arhat and showed a kind smile. I would like to ask if there is a state in Master called Karma. Arhat didn't shy away, nodded and said. It's true. Seeing that the others were puzzled, Luhan took the initiative to explain. The so-called karma, in Buddhism. Huo Tianyi rolled his eyes and interrupted. Don't talk about how Buddhists explain it, talk about it in human terms. He was most annoyed by these roundabout words. Whether it's Buddhism or Taoism or something else, Huo Tian gets dizzy when he hears it. A scumbag like him won't have the patience to listen to all these meanderings, and that's his character. Okay. Arhat was particularly cooperative and translated into human language. The effect of this state is very simple. If someone casts a spell on me, the price he pays will be attributed to me. It turned out to be the case, and everyone pretended to suddenly realize it. So that's it, I understand. Huo Tianyi said with a dark face, what do you mean, I don't understand. Sun Li and Dracula looked at Xiao Huo and gave him a thumbs up from the bottom of their hearts. With a straight man like Xiao Huo here, I am not afraid of being embarrassed. Huo Tian took the initiative to embarrass himself. If you don't understand, you just don't understand. He doesn't bother pretending to understand. In order to take care of Huo Tianyi's cultural level, Luo Han patiently explained. That is to say, if someone casts fireball on me and consumes 30 MP points, I will recover 30 MP points. This time, everyone really understood. Arhat looked at Shura and asked curiously. Donor, I do have karma on my side, so what? Yabai smiled crookedly, showing a buggy smile. I dare to ask Master, is there still a state in my body called 6-root purity, which prevents me from carrying gold coins? Arhat nodded again. Indeed, the donor is really good at judging people. That's right. Yabai had already started rubbing his hands together excitedly, and couldn't wait to ask the other party for help. Stealing fire will consume 10,000 eternal gold coins for each failure. Arhat has the buff of karma, which means that the 10,000 gold coins consumed by Yabai will be transferred to Arhat. And the Arhat is affected by the 6 roots of purity and cannot carry gold coins. In other words, perpetual motion. How could such an obvious bug escape Shura's eyes? Every time Yabai fails to steal fire, he can pick up 10,000 gold coins next to Arhat, stealing fire without any consumption. At the beginning, when Yabai saw the success rate of stealing fire at 0.15%, he was ready to give up on the spot. It only takes 1,000 times to succeed once. It's not worth spending 10 million gold coins in exchange for a buff. But Yabai carefully studied the condition of Luo Han, immediately discovered the existence of the bug, and hurriedly called Luo Han. Master, don't leave, let me steal, borrow the fire first. Can Shura's matter be called plagiarism? Stealing fire does not count as stealing. After briefly explaining the situation to Luo Han, Yabai comforted him. Master, I'll do it very quickly, you won't feel any pain. If you want to steal fire, you still need the cooperation of the other party. After all, Yabai saw it clearly. From now on, this Arhat will be an NPC in the Eternal Core City. He must establish a good relationship with him in advance and wander there from time to fix bugs. The water flows slowly. We won't do this one and done deal. After listening to Shura's statement, Arhat pondered for a moment and spoke again. It's not impossible to discuss what the donor said. As he spoke, several terrifyingly powerful flames floated next to Arhat. The poor monk has practiced for many years and has some attainments in the fire path. Before entering Buddhism, he had some secular connections with the god of fire. The poor monk has the fire of wisdom, the fire of green lotus, the fire of meditation, the fire of burning the world. Arhat introduced everything. The fire of wisdom, placed in the eternal sea, can randomly increase a certain amount of intelligence attributes every once in a while. Green lotus fire, a piece of fur that the poor monk learned from an ancient fragment, is terrifyingly powerful. A wisp of flame can destroy the world. Calm the fire, stay in it, and you will not be affected by negative effects below the level of a quasi-god. Listening to Arhat's introduction, the meaning in Yebai's eyes was very clear. I want them all. Unfortunately, fire stealers can only steal one kind of fire at a time. All kinds of fires introduced by Luohan have excellent effects. While Yebai's heart was beating, he was also wary in his heart. Is this monk trying to catch me? Shiu donor, you can rest assured. Arhat put his hands together and saluted. The poor monk relied on the benefactor's previous immeasurable calamity to meet the fate of his destiny. Although he lost his attained fruition status, it was a blessing rather than a disaster. In words that donor Huo can understand, the poor monk should repay with fire the debt he owes to the donor. The other party took the initiative to send it to his door, and Yebai felt a little embarrassed. Why is this so embarrassing? As he spoke, a pile of gold coins appeared under Arhat's feet. No more, no less, exactly 10,000. Everyone. While saying sorry, he decisively started to steal the fire. As expected of you, Shura. Shameless, I think you figured it out. Yebai was about to take back the gold coins on the ground when his eyes blurred. The people are still there, but the money is gone. Huo Tianyi. Yebai was angry. When the projection of the most powerful demon god appeared in front of Yebai, he had never been so angry. He actually robbed him of 100,000 gold coins in front of him. Huo Tianyi, you are so brave. Give me back my 200,000 gold coins. Yebai looked at Huo Tianyi and drew out the Heavenly King sword. If I don't kill you today, I will trigger the series of 9 deaths without regrets. I am not the most powerful seed. Huo Tianyi said calmly. Look what I'm doing, the money is in Sun Li's arms. Just now, Huo Tian instantly picked up the gold coins on the ground and put them all on Sun Li's lap. Sun Li looked at Shura and showed a helpless smile. Do you still want this money? Yebai. Say no. That's 300,000 gold coins. Say you want it, Yebai is really a little afraid to take it. Yebai turned to look at Dracula and said seriously. Here's your bonus for next month. Dracula? I tolerated it even if you didn't pay me, are you playing dirty tricks with me now? Even if you use Sun Li's money to buy a coffin, you won't make a living. Yebai took a deep breath, suppressed the anger in his heart, and continued to steal fire. Brush. Next to Arhat, another 10,000 gold coins fell. Yebai had quick eyes and quick hands and snatched 5,648 gold coins back. The remaining gold coins were sent to Sun Li's arms by Huo Tianyi. The two competed and started grabbing gold coins. The stolen fire was instead put aside. At the beginning, Huo Tianyi and Yebai were able to grab gold coins at a 50-50 speed. The further back, the more Yebai grabbed, and his efficiency was obviously faster than Huo Tianyi. In the midterm, Yebai can get back 9,000 gold coins for every 10,000 gold coins. When Huo Tian saw that the momentum was not good, he snorted coldly and punched himself with his backhand. After 9 deaths without regrets, trigger. Huo Tianyi, who is in full form, returns to the game and is in hot form. It's cheating, The card is buggy, bah. Shame on you. I even got the card secretly. Yabai spurned Huo Tianyi's bug behavior and continued to play the bug of Luhan stealing fire. The two of them were concentrating on the game, fighting back and forth, and the scene was heated. Sun Li has been buried in money and is at a loss. Brush. A white light flashed, but no gold coins appeared. Huo Tian was stunned for a moment. Where's the money? Yabai was also stunned. Yes, where is his 10,000 gold coins? Why wasn't the gold coin deducted this time? Stealing fire successfully. Acquire the fire state endless karmic fire, receive 600,000 points of burning damage per second, duration, 360 years. Fire Stealer takes effect, physical attributes add 50,000. A big question mark floated above Yabai's head, and his whole person was on fire. Fuck, it really lit up.